Cadets choke the wrong new girl at base, unaware she's a SEAL combat expert ready to explode. The morning sun burned through the gates of Fort Valor, streaking the yard in gold and shadows. Cadets ran drills, their boots clanging against concrete, voices loud, testing the edges of authority. Marcus Haze led a group, chest puffed with pride, smirking at anyone he deemed weak. His laughter cut through the air, sharp and careless. Chloe Sterling adjusted her gloves quietly, eyes scanning. She looked ordinary, just another recruit, but every inch of her body moved with a fluidity that spoke of combat mastery. She field-checked her rifle, fingers brushing the worn metal with the ease of muscle memory, not instruction. Marcus stepped closer, a mocking grin on his face. "Think you belong here, newbie?" he called. Laughter followed. Chloe didn't respond. Her calm wasn't fear, it was a warning. When Marcus shoved her lightly, her hand caught his wrist in a flash, controlled, precise. He stumbled, his smirk faltering. Around them, cadets paused, sensing the subtle shift in the air. Silence descended, brief but heavy. Chloe's eyes never wavered. Every motion told a story Marcus didn't understand. Quiet strength, discipline, the kind born only from trials far beyond their drills. The yard buzzed with tension as Chloe moved to the weapons bench. Cadets crowded her, whispering, nudging, testing limit. Marcus tried again, this time leaning over, a taunt ready on his lips. Chloe's hands worked calmly, disassembling her rifle with meticulous care. Each part clicked into place, precise and methodical. The sun caught faint scars on her knuckles, pale reminders of countless battles. Marcus laughed, louder now, trying to provoke her. The other cadets joined, unaware they were playing with someone far beyond their skill. Chloe didn't flinch. Her silence grew heavier, oppressive in its quiet. Marcus's grin twitched. Something about her posture, the way she balanced every motion, unnerved him. He leaned closer, mock-threatening, testing boundaries. Chloe's eyes lifted for just a moment, meeting his. No fear, no arrogance, only calm. A flicker of recognition passed through Marcus's mind, unacknowledged, quickly dismissed. Chloe's hand hovered near her sidearm. Not in threat, just ready. A subtle warning, invisible to most, but enough. A few cadets began to sense it, pausing mid-laugh. The bravado that filled the yard moments ago was thinning, replaced by uncertainty. Master Sergeant Grant watched from the sidelines, arms crossed, his gaze sharp. He had trained enough recruits to spot discipline, or the lack of it, from a mile away. Chloe's precision didn't come from the base. He recognized it instantly. Years of tactical drills, countless scenarios rehearsed under pressure. She wasn't new. Not really. The cadets around her had no idea the storm among them was a seasoned combat operator, trained to move silently, strike precisely, and read threats before they materialized. Marcus stepped forward again, pride and arrogance blending into impatience. "Don't just stand there. Prove you can keep up," he barked. Chloe continued her work, assembling her rifle with serene focus, ignoring him. Her calmness spoke louder than his shouting. The yard felt suddenly smaller, the noise swallowed by an invisible weight. A few cadets edged away, sensing tension they couldn't define. Marcus's voice cracked slightly, forced and sharp. Chloe's head lifted, scanning the group with unyielding poise. One deliberate step closer, and Marcus froze for a fraction of a second, a flicker of unease passing across his face. It was too late. He had underestimated the wrong person. The whistle blew, signaling the start of an advanced combat drill. Chaos erupted. Cadets ran, rifles in hand, shouting orders they hoped others would follow. Marcus barked commands, expecting obedience, expecting compliance. Chloe stayed at the edge of the chaos, moving with an uncanny rhythm. Each motion was calculated. Angles, cover points, potential threats, all mapped in her mind before anyone else could react. Smoke canisters erupted, filling the yard with thick gray haze. Marcus yelled over the noise, trying to direct his team. His voice cracked. Cadets stumbled, lost in confusion. Chloe moved silently through the smoke, rifle slung across her back, hand brushing the sidearm she carried. Her eyes darted, scanning, calculating. When a cadet from Marcus's team lunged at a target, she intercepted with a single fluid motion, redirecting him without force, guiding him safely. Her presence changed the dynamics instantly. Chaos bent around her, unnoticed by most, controlled by her alone. Marcus's chest heaved, his earlier confidence shattered in the thick haze. The realization that he had no control began to settle in. Chloe didn't speak, didn't boast. She simply moved with mastery, invisible yet undeniable. A sudden alarm pierced the air. Red lights flashed across the yard, casting long shadows against the walls. The drill escalated, and cadets panicked. Marcus barked orders, trying to regain control, but the noise swallowed him. Chloe stepped forward, assessing the situation with surgical precision. A cadet rushed toward her, lost and panicked. In one smooth motion, she caught him, redirecting him behind cover without a word. Another cadet fell, stumbling into the smoke. She intercepted again, her movements fluid, almost effortless. Around her, the yard seemed to bend to her rhythm. Master Sergeant Grant observed, jaw tight, recognizing the technique he had only ever seen in elite unit. Marcus tried to regain authority, but his voice sounded hollow, swallowed by the sudden clarity of Chloe's competence. Cadets froze, watching, disbelief etched on their faces. Chloe's calm was magnetic. It cut through fear, confusion, and arrogance alike. She wasn't just another recruit. She was a force, precise and controlled, a living reminder of discipline beyond what they had ever known. Marcus's pride crumbled further as he realized the truth. They had all underestimated her. The wrong new girl had arrived, and the entire yard was about to learn a lesson in humility. Smoke curled through the yard like restless shadows, and Chloe's calm stood in stark contrast. Marcus's team fumbled, rifles raised too high, steps uneven, voices loud. Every cadet's mistake only highlighted her precision. She moved from cover to cover, sliding behind pillars, eyes sharp and calculating. When a cadet from Marcus's squad charged at a barricade wrong, she intercepted, guiding him without force, just using his momentum. It was subtle, almost invisible, yet undeniable. The master sergeant leaned forward, recognizing the hallmark of elite close-quarters combat. Chloe's eyes swept the chaos, seeing angles, exits, and threats that no training manual could prepare them for. Marcus's chest heaved as he watched, realizing that authority meant nothing here. His words rang hollow, his presence irrelevant. Chloe's control was quiet, invisible, absolute. Cadets began whispering, uncertain, awed, a tension that had been building all morning now peaking. Marcus's smirk faded. Every action she took dismantled his arrogance without a word, without aggression. The yard's noise dimmed around her, chaos bending to her rhythm. She wasn't just surviving this drill, she was teaching it, silently, effortlessly, leaving every cadet, and Marcus himself, scrambling to keep up. Suddenly, a simulated intruder burst through the smoke, charging toward Marcus's squad. Cadets froze. Marcus barked instructions, but his team faltered, caught in panic. Chloe stepped forward, movement fluid, precise, almost invisible. She intercepted the intruder, arm trapping his weapon, redirecting his momentum with a single pivot. The intruder fell without a sound, neutralized by skill, not brute force. Cadets stared, mouths open, unable to comprehend what they had just witnessed. Marcus's chest heaved. Disbelief hardened his pride into frustration. Master Sergeant Grant's eyes narrowed. This was no ordinary recruit. This was someone whose training had been forged in real battles, where hesitation meant death. Chloe's gaze never wavered, scanning, calculating, still calm. The yard had fallen silent, the only sound the distant whistle of wind and the soft scrape of her boots against concrete. A few cadets glanced at each other, a silent acknowledgement of awe-replacing laughter. Marcus tried to regain control, but Chloe's quiet mastery made him feel irrelevant, powerless. For the first time, arrogance met its match, and the cadets understood. Assumptions could kill, and underestimating someone could cost far more than pride. Smoke began to clear, but Chloe's presence still commanded the yard. Marcus struggled to regain composure, but the spell had broken. The cadets watched her move with calculated precision, each step and gesture a lesson in control and discipline. She didn't need to shout. Her body spoke louder than words. When a teammate froze mid-drill, Chloe intervened, guiding without touching, instructing without speaking. Her quiet authority radiated calm through panic. Master Sergeant Grant leaned closer, recognizing techniques only seen in the elite. Chloe wasn't just reacting, she was orchestrating. Marcus's team faltered repeatedly, and his frustration grew. Every attempt to assert dominance was quietly undone by her precision. The air in the yard had changed. Confidence turned into doubt, arrogance into humility. Cadets whispered to one another, realizing that all their assumptions about strength and leadership had been shattered in moments. Chloe's silence carried weight, and the once chaotic drill transformed under her calm presence. Marcus swallowed hard, the first twinges of fear prickling at the edges of his bravado. He had thought he controlled the yard. He had thought she was just another recruit. He was wrong. And now every cadet, every instructor, understood it. The whistle blew again, signaling the next phase of the drill. Red lights strobed as simulated gunfire erupted, smoke spilling from canisters, thick and blinding. Cadets panicked, voices frantic, footsteps clanging, orders lost in chaos. Chloe moved like water, silent, flowing through the confusion. Each step calculated, precise, each action exact. When a cadet from Marcus's team stumbled, she caught him, steadying him without words. Another tried to charge an obstacle incorrectly. Chloe intercepted, redirecting him effortlessly. Around her, the chaos bent to her rhythm. Master Sergeant Grant watched, jaw tight, recognizing techniques used only in elite combat operations. Marcus barked orders, his voice cracking under pressure, but Chloe's calm made it sound insignificant. Cadets froze, unsure where to look, what to do, their arrogance replaced with awe. Her movements were a dance of skill and control, a lesson in discipline without a single spoken word. Marcus realized the depth of his mistake. He had underestimated Chloe, and the cost was evident. Every cadet and instructor witnessed mastery in motion, quiet, precise, unyielding. The yard had become a stage, and Chloe, without a single shout, commanded every actor, every movement, reshaping their understanding of what strength truly meant. The drill ended abruptly as the final alarm blared. Silence fell, heavy and tense, broken only by the soft hum of settling smoke. Cadets stood frozen, chests heaving, eyes wide with disbelief. Chloe's rifle was slung across her back, her posture calm, collected. Marcus remained rigid, pride shattered, realizing he had been humiliated, not by force, but by skill and discipline far beyond his comprehension. Master Sergeant Grant exhaled slowly, acknowledging the rare brilliance in front of him. Chloe stepped forward, guiding the last panicked cadets to form, movements silent, efficient, commanding respect without a word. The yard had changed. Confidence had turned to humility, arrogance to admiration. Marcus swallowed hard, understanding the truth that all the noise and swagger could never convey. True strength was quiet, deliberate, and earned. Cadets whispered, unsure if what they had seen was real, yet unable to deny its impact. Chloe didn't speak of her experience. She didn't boast. She simply moved, a living lesson in mastery, composure, and discipline. The storm had passed, but the mark she left on Fort Valor would linger, a reminder that underestimating someone, no matter how ordinary they appear, could unravel everything in an instant. The cadets gathered in the assembly hall, faces pale, chests tight with lingering awe. Chloe moved among them, quiet, unassuming, her presence calm but magnetic. Marcus trailed behind, clutching his notes, trying to reclaim authority, but the truth hung heavy in the air. He had been humbled. Each cadet who had mocked her earlier now looked to her with respect tinged by fear and admiration. She didn't gloat, didn't offer reassurance. Her silence was itself a lesson. Master Sergeant Grant addressed the group, voice low, deliberate. "Respect is earned, arrogance destroys, assumptions kill." The words landed on ears that had never truly listened before. Chloe's eyes met Marcus's for a fleeting second, and he saw it. The measure of mastery wasn't power or rank, it was discipline, restraint, and readiness. A whisper ran through the hall as cadets replayed moments from the drill, how she moved, how she neutralized chaos, how she taught without saying a word. For the first time, Marcus understood that leadership wasn't performed, it was embodied. Chloe didn't need to raise her voice to command attention. Every motion, every decision, every quiet glance was more than enough. The room felt smaller, the air thicker with respect and recognition. Later that evening, the barracks were silent, cadets replaying the day in their mind. Marcus sat alone on the edge of his bunk, the weight of failure heavy on his shoulders. He remembered every step Chloe had taken, every precise motion, every controlled strike. His arrogance had been stripped bare, replaced with a gnawing awareness of his own limitations. The other cadets whispered in corners, trading stories of what they had witnessed. Some swore she moved like a ghost, faster than the eye could follow. Some said her presence reshaped the chaos itself. Marcus's hands clutched his clipboard. He realized he had underestimated a human being, not a machine, not a legend, but a woman who had endured more than he ever would, who had trained harder, and who had faced real danger without flinching. A quiet shame settled over him, but beneath it was a spark of resolve. He wanted to learn, to be better, to move beyond bravado and truly understand what discipline and mastery meant. And as the lights dimmed, he glanced toward Chloe's bunk, silent, calm, focused, and understood that some lessons were given not in words, but in actions that left no room for doubt. The following morning, Chloe arrived on the training field before anyone else. Sunlight cut across the yard, casting long shadows, and the wind carried the scent of fresh gravel and gunpowder residue. Cadets arrived slowly, murmuring to one another, glancing toward her. She moved methodically, checking weapons, aligning targets, eyes scanning every detail. Marcus followed reluctantly, carrying her gear, a silent acknowledgement of his position. He noticed the way she treated each rifle, each tool, each detail with reverence, precision, and calm. There was no hurry, no drama, only exactitude. Her presence transformed the yard. Cadets fell into rhythm, responding to her movements, her quiet authority settling into their awareness. Marcus realized that leadership wasn't about being loud or demanding attention. It was about being prepared, deliberate, and unshakable in the face of chaos. Every glance Chloe offered, every subtle adjustment, every instruction without words became a blueprint for the cadets' own growth. Silence no longer felt empty. It felt full of learning, observation, and humility. And for Marcus, watching her work day after day, a profound understanding began to take root. Strength was not shown through dominance or swagger, but through composure, skill, and a quiet command of oneself. Weeks passed, and the yard shifted under Chloe's influence. Cadets moved with purpose, communication became clear and measured, mistakes were corrected with calm guidance instead of mockery. Marcus no longer barked orders. He observed, learned, and adapted. He carried the lessons she demonstrated daily: patience, discipline, focus. Master Sergeant Grant observed the transformation, impressed by the subtle, almost imperceptible shift in culture. Chloe never demanded recognition, never sought admiration. She simply performed her role flawlessly, each action a testament to experience earned through hardship and resilience. The cadets began to understand what true leadership meant. No one challenged her anymore, not because they feared punishment, but because they had come to recognize skill, discipline, and quiet confidence as authority itself. And Marcus, once loud and brash, now carried himself differently, deliberate in motion, measured in words, attentive to detail. Chloe's impact extended beyond drills or exercises. She had reshaped the culture, teaching through presence rather than proclamation. By the time the red cell simulation was repeated for the next cohort, whispers of her mastery had become legend, and every new cadet stepped onto the field with reverence, aware that strength was quiet, humility was power, and underestimating someone could unravel everything in an instant. The day Chloe departed, the air in the yard felt different. Cadets moved with a rhythm they hadn't known before, instinctively recalling her lessons. Marcus walked beside the familiar pillar where she had neutralized chaos, touching the concrete lightly, a silent tribute. The barracks were quieter now, not from fear, but from respect and understanding. Chloe stood at the gate, calm, composed, her bag slung over her shoulder, her gaze steady. Cadets and instructors watched, realizing they had witnessed more than skill. They had seen mastery of self, discipline forged through trial, and the embodiment of leadership that required no voice. Marcus stepped forward, hesitating, then gave a simple nod, a gesture of gratitude and acknowledgement. Chloe returned it with the same quiet grace, and as she walked away, the wind carried the faint echo of her presence, a reminder that true strength endured, not in noise or dominance, but in calm competence, resilience, and the courage to act when others faltered. The yard remained, the concrete pillars stood, and every cadet who passed through knew. Some lessons could only be learned by watching mastery in motion. Silence, discipline, and focus were the currency of greatness. If this story inspired you, don't forget to subscribe, like, and press the bell icon to catch more extraordinary tales of courage and quiet strength. Remember, true power often speaks without a sound, and humility is the mark of a real hero.